Welcome to AHLA's Twitter School. I'm very pleased to introduce our instructor for this course, Matthew Fisher. He's an associate with Mirick O'Connell. Fisher's health law practice includes advising clients with regulatory compliance and medical malpractice issues. In 2011, Fisher was named a Massachusetts Rising Star by Boston Magazine and Law and Politics. Fisher has been an active association member with respect to social media and is a verified, veritable Twitter expert. And with that, I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Fisher.
All right, well, thank you for that great introduction, and welcome to everyone listening to this program. The goal today is to give a basic introduction into the use of Twitter and hopefully make you realize that using Twitter is not a very big and scary experience, but one that can be very easy to jump into and that you'll hopefully find very rewarding. Probably the first question that everyone wants to know is, what actually is Twitter? And Twitter is what is called a microblogging website and service. And what it means is you actually get up to only 140 characters in which to post a message. This is different from what you typically think of with a blog, where you have as much room as you want to write about and discuss a subject. And where you can more fully develop ideas, whereas Twitter, as the so-called microblogging website, is really designed to push out information very quickly and to share it. As a microblogging site, it's a source of instant information, as people are able to share updates almost instantaneously upon learning of a development. It's also, I find, a very great medium for connecting with people with similar interests and following people. For example, a lot of the government agencies that we as health lawyers are interested in are on Twitter and provide updates even more quickly through Twitter than you might get through email or updates on their website. So aside from those kind of benefits, why would you want to use Twitter? As I said, it is a great source of information and it provides it on a breaking basis. Honestly, I actually probably get most of my news by following various news outlets and magazines and other individuals on Twitter. I find it's more up-to-date and current than picking up a newspaper in the morning, and I can also see information as it comes out during the day. When I'm at my desk in my office, I actually leave the Twitter web portal, which I'll discuss in a little bit, up on my screen, so that way I can see as tweets come through and learn information that way. Another benefit about Twitter is if you're an active participant, it'll increase your search engine ranking. And what that means is when someone searches for your name and kind of keywords, probably for us in the healthcare field, it'd be healthcare or CMS or similar keywords, you'll pop up higher in those results and make it easier for people to find you. As I mentioned earlier, in terms of the connection, it gets you into the conversation, so that way if you want to be sharing information, then it allows you to post and kind of show to the world that you're aware of breaking developments and that you're thinking about them. Another kind of maybe less recognized benefit, but one that I've certainly found, is that it's a great way to develop connections with people. Kind of a personal story for me is I started following another associate from a firm in New Jersey. I thought he was sharing some very nice information, and as I was doing research for a topic one day, I ran a search on, conveniently enough, the AHLA's listservs, and his name popped up since he had been doing research on the exact same subject. So based on those connections, I actually reached out to him, and then we've developed a nice connection, and it can be a resource for each other. And also recently, another individual who I started following on Twitter, I reached out to, and we're now going to be speaking on a panel together. So now that you know why to use Twitter, how do you get started? Getting started on Twitter is actually, I think, one of the simplest processes out of all the different types of social media. All it requires is going to Twitter's homepage, which is www.twitter.com. When you get there for the first time, you'll see a box that says new to Twitter, sign up. All you need to do to sign up and get a Twitter account is enter your name, your email address, and a password. Then click sign up, and you're all set with an account that you can then customize. Maybe as a first step, before you take that step, though, you might want to check your company's or your firm's social media policies to see if there's any restrictions that they might place upon what you can do, or other considerations that they might want you to consider. So as I said, once you sign up, then you can start customizing your profile. One of the things that you want to do is, when you first sign up, it defaults the picture for your account as what's commonly referred to as the egg, because it's just a solid color background and then literally an egg shape in there. So what you want to do is get a picture, preferably a nice picture of yourself, and that way you can upload that, and then when people search for you and when you're tweeting and your account's going out there, that is what people will see. You can also fill in your name, you can fill in your location if you would like, and a website. For myself, the website that I filled into my profile is a link to my biographical description on my firm's website. And then you can also actually type in a biographical description into Twitter, where you get a little bit more room than you typically get for a tweet. You actually get up to 160 characters, which again still is not a terribly great amount of room, but it does allow you to describe yourself and give kind of a snapshot profile of who you are. And when you're filling out that biographical description, you want to keep in mind, again, keywords. Taking my bio as an example, the areas that I like to focus on within our broad healthcare field are regulatory compliance, specifically in the fraud and abuse arena, and kind of looking at the Stark Law and anti-kickback statute. So I try to capture those keywords into my description, because then when people are searching those words, you'll pop up more readily. So for example, compliance is in mine, as well as fraud and abuse, and health appears a couple of times, because again, you want to highlight what field you're in. A new setup for your profile has actually been introduced by Twitter recently, which is called the header style, where the little square for your your headshot that you'd want to highlight can actually be put on top of like a tiling or a bigger picture. And for those of you who are in organizations, or maybe want to highlight a particular company or other entity, that way you can have a nice background of maybe your logo, and then you have your headshot kind of highlighted there. So once you get everything set up, the next question is, how do I go about tweeting? And I guess the first step is to explain what a tweet is. A tweet is actually just a post. It's a specific title that everyone uses within the Twitter sphere. But to actually go about tweeting, and I'm going to use the web portal as an example, is you're going to log in. When you log in, you'll have kind of the typical home screen that pops up, where your feed will be in kind of what looks like the right-hand column, and then on the left-hand column, up at the top, you'll have a little box that has your name, the number of tweets you've made, how many people you're following, and how many followers you have. And then under that, you'll see a little white box where it says compose new tweet. All you need to do to start tweeting is start typing into that box, and then you'll also see another little number counting down, telling you how many characters you have left. Obviously, if you see that number go into negative, you've passed your 140 character limit, and you'll need to try and figure out how to shorten what you're sending out there. Another kind of a good tip of when you're sending out a tweet, and something that I usually try to follow, is I always like to try to include a link to the material that I'm talking about in my tweets. So that way, it could be a link to the newspaper article that I'm talking about, a particular regulation, a case decision, or really anything that you're interested in. So that way, you can direct your followers to a primary source and something that has a bit more description. You might be wondering, how do I fit a link into only 140 characters? Because we've all looked at the top of our web browsers and seen that there are many characters in there and that it goes on forever. Twitter very nicely shortens every single link, no matter how long it is, to just 20 characters. So that way you actually will still have room to provide some thought or description of what you're linking to. And given that it's, as I said, the link is shortened to 20 characters, figuring you have a space in between what you want to say and the link, you're down to 119 characters, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in my experience I've found actually does provide you a good amount of space to say something. So the next question you might have is, you see all these very random symbols when you've seen tweets, if you've looked at them before. You might see the pound symbol, or as it's referred to in Twitter as the hashtag. You might see an RT in front of some, or an MT, or the @ symbol. And those are actually all Twitter-specific shorthands for various actions. So the hashtag, and you'll see when you do a hashtag in front of a word, it actually highlights it in blue once you make your tweet. What the hashtag does is it makes that term automatically searchable. So you can click on any word that has hashtag in front of it, and it automatically runs a search on that word as if you had typed into the search box at the top of the page. Doing this makes it easier for you to be found. It helps you find topics and tweets that you might be interested in, and really helps direct and engage you into that particular conversation. The next one that I think is very important and is very useful as well is the RT, which means retweet. And a retweet is simply resending out a tweet that someone else has made into your own feed. And there's actually two ways to go about retweeting. One, which is the very easy way, is you'll notice that when you move your cursor over a particular tweet, some bubbles will pop up underneath that tweet, and one of them looks like a little square with arrows kind of making it look like it's going in a circle. If you click that button, all it will do is retweet that tweet exactly as you see it out to your followers. The other way to do it is to copy that, and then what you can do is do the RT for the retweet, put the other person's username in, and then paste it. So that way, if there's extra room there, if that it doesn't use up all 140 characters, then you can put in some additional commentary or thoughts that you might want to on top of it. And kind of the issue that can lead into is, if you're doing all that copying and pasting, you might very quickly run out of your 140 characters, which is where the MT comes in, which means modified tweet. And it's showing that, again, you are essentially copying and pasting someone else's message, but you can then modify it a little bit, where you want to take out some words or abbreviate things in order to give yourself room to actually provide, again, some of your own commentary in there. And then lastly, the last symbol that you see a lot is the @ symbol. And that's a symbol that's used before someone else's username. So for example, if I was going to retweet myself, I would do the RT, then a space, and then @ and then my username is Matt_R_Fisher. So when I put the @ symbol in it, it creates a link to my profile. So that way, if someone sees that tweet, they can say, "Oh, I wonder who that is," and they can click on the link, and it brings a little pop-up window about me, where they can then choose to, follow that person, look at who they're following or who is following them, and so on. The other thing that happens if a user's name is put into a tweet with that @ symbol, it notifies them that they've been mentioned by another user, which is a great way of trying to draw someone's attention to yourself. So the next kind of question is, I was saying at the beginning a lot that Twitter is a great source of information, but the question is, how do you get that information? And the way to do it is you actually follow other users. And in Twitter, unlike, say, LinkedIn or Facebook or those types of social media, following in Twitter is not does not require mutuality. You can follow someone, but they do not need to follow you back. So that way, you just go on finding who you're interested in, and kind of there's no set rule on who you can follow or who to follow, but really just think about what you're interested in, what type of information you're looking for, and then start searching. Kind of some good examples to follow are a lot of the government agencies, as I said, have Twitter accounts. CMS has one, the Office of the Inspector General, Medicare has various accounts, and then a lot of other health law attorneys have accounts who can be great to follow as well. And then in terms of following and tweeting, I think there's kind of three categories of Twitter users that you can fall into. You can be an active user, and that, in my mind, that would mean someone who is following a lot of people and then also tweeting a lot. You could be an inactive user, which I think is kind of a negative way to think about it, but more of, I would say, an informational user, where you're not necessarily tweeting, but you're following lots of people to get information and learn from them. Or you could fall into a middle group. Another good resource if you're looking for people to follow is the AHLA has an account, as well as all of the practice groups. The practice groups obviously are sharing information specific to their particular area, but I think they are a great resource because you've got a lot of different people contributing and sharing their thoughts in that way. And then kind of the last slide here is just an example of what one of the AHLA practice groups accounts look like. This one in particular is the fraud and abuse group, but as you could see on the previous slide, there really are a lot of different practice groups to be able to follow. And the one thing I would mention is if you're interested in getting involved, and I'm sure all the practice groups are always looking out for volunteers, is you can contact the practice group staff and express interest in doing that, and they can be reached at P as in Paul, G as in George, S as in Sam at healthlawyers.org. And then I hope if anyone has questions or would like more information or discuss further, I'd be more than happy to have people contact me, whether it be by phone or by email, and my contact information will be on the last slide. But thank you for listening to the program, and I look forward to seeing all of you on Twitter, and I look forward to learning from all of you and being able to follow you going forward. Thank you.